Adale Winans, Winans. Now, my father was Bishop Fred Winans, founder of that Mack Avenue Church of God in Christ. You know, he was brother to Isaiah Winans, you know, them singing Winans. And my mother, her name was Phoebe Winans. Now, she was very religious too, but she was a pure joy. I'm talking about comedic and could cook like nobody's business. I moved from Buffalo, New York in 1925. We moved here to Detroit. I was about 6 months old. I had 7 siblings, 8 of us in total. It was Tony, Fred, Mary, let me see, let me get them together, James, Bobby, then came me, Helen, and Andrew. Andrew was my baby brother. Before Tony, there was my half brother, Johnny, on my father's side. You know how it is, and everybody always got them other ones, you know. But you know, you'd be like, well, wait, I thought he came with this person and she had that baby with this baby, and it was my family. We lived off of Brady and Hastings. Detroit, back in the day, it was beautiful. I'm talking about, it was wonderful. It was like nothing I had ever seen before. I'm talking about black businesses, black stores, black cleaners, everything for miles. It was black. And I remember when Joe Louis won the championship. I mean, people was running down Hastings for miles just celebrating. And in 1942, I was at Miller High School. But where I was also at was Hastings Street. Hastings was the street. I loved to club. Me and my friend Dorothy would go to the 666 Club and the Lark. And we would go to the movies. They had the roving lights, and we went to the Brewster Recreation Center and even the ice cream parlor. But my favorite spot was the Greystone Ballroom. Hey, you was in there if you went to the Greystone Ballroom. I remember one night I had so much fun. I walked home with my shoes in my hand. You know, black folks ain't going to the white folks' neighborhood. You know, they would come down sometimes to Black Bottom, you know, to see all the stars and whatnot. But one day, it was something got word up to Sonny Wilson's about some white boy had thrown a black boy off the Belle Isle Bridge. And it was the race riots. I'm talking about, it lasted a little over a week. I'm talking about ain't nothing I ain't never seen in my life. I saw people running down the street with TVs and carts and all types of stuff. And you know, we went to the store. We got some meat. And we went to the pharmacy and we got a couple of bottles of liquor. It was good. Yeah. Yeah. Them was some good times. Now, of course, I grew up and left high school and there was no more hanging in the joints. So I got married and I went to work. I worked about 3 or 4 jobs. I worked at the Ferrymore Seed Company downtown Detroit. I worked at Grace Hospital as a pantry girl, and I worked up in Northville. Me, Helen, Martell, and Billy. And around this time I was working, I was married to a guy named Ben Smiley. Now Ben was having some trouble working, so we took some jobs as caretakers at an apartment, and that's how we got our first apartment or a home. And then in 1957, I worked at Wayne County General Hospital. Now I had applied for just like a civil service job, and I was a custodian. I was out on the floor, and that's where I met Jim. His real name was Thomas Johnson, but he ain't like nobody to call him Thomas, so he just said call him Jim. And I was out on the floor, and Jim, he was just a very smart man. He was handsome and charming, and he was just what you call a handyman. And in 1968, that's when we moved into the house on Eileen. Yeah, been about 47 years. Yeah. Jim loved me, and I grew to love Jim. We had some good times together. Now, I never had any children, and all of my brothers and sisters and husbands have passed except for me. But what I do have, I have a wonderful lot of nieces and nephews. My nieces and my nephews are like my children, all of them. Yeah, I lived a good life, but I'm not done yet. I talked to the Lord yesterday, and I said, Lord, I haven't lived yet, but I did learn some things. I learned always strike the happy medium. Don't never go too extreme. Like don't never go too far this way or too far that way. Just the happy medium. And always love. Always look for it, and always give it. Jim used to say, give me 10 more good years. Give me 10 more good years. Now, it's one thing I would like. We just talking about fantasy or something. It's one thing I ain't had yet. And I want it. I want $1 million in my pocket all at one time. I'm talking about I don't want to do nothing. I don't, I could get up and I could, take my laundry and cook. I don't do all that. Yep. Give me that. And I'll be good. Okay, I'm good.